Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Executive Scrutiny Board at Derby City Council. It's Monday the 18th of December at 6 o'clock. Thank you for your attendance. Any apologies, please?
Chair, I've got apologies from Councillor Eyre and Councillor Rawson. Thank you.
I was just going to add, Chairman, that Councillor Matthew Holmes is going to be slightly late.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any late items, Stephen. No. Declarations of interest, members? I take that as none, thank you. Members, minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of December, they've all been circulated. Any queries? Moved? Seconded? Thank you. Proves it. Forward plan, again, been circulated. Any particular items you've picked out of there that you want to query or comment on? No, this is going well then, good. Council response to scrutiny recommendations is attached to the agenda. Any comments in relation to that? In that case, we can move straight on to the Council Cabinet agenda for Wednesday the 20th, here again at the Council House. And in terms of that, the first one of note is item 8, the transforming the council using AI technology. And I think you're here, Andy, to talk us through that, yeah?
Thank you, Chair. We've taken the liberty of providing a presentation to overview the Cabinet report, as we thought this would be helpful to expand on the background that's led us to this point. The council started its AI journey some over 12 months ago now, with the commencement of Darcy and Ali, which is a AI digital talker technology, so a technology to have initial conversations with service users. And from April through to May 2023, the council deployed AIs in the form of Darcy and Ali as a web AI helper, and then following on in May, a smart phone digital helper. This had an original business case target of being able to divert 21% of inbound contacts through telephony channels to cover the top 1,000 call types that came into council services, plus more local services within the customer area, council tax and benefits. And we were conscious at the time that we were the first council in the country to actually do this type of switchover to AI for its main call numbers. The MTFP had a target of £200,000 annual saving for this project, and this AI uses a cutting-edge AI that continues to learn, but always remains ethical and the control of the council, and importantly, always has a human in the loop, and always a human telephone or face-to-face service, plus all other accessible services available should people not want to use the AI channel or are unable to be helped by the AI. As this developed, so we on the web channel we went forward on the 3rd of April, and since that point we've had 31,700 plus questions, a total of 18,000 plus complex conversations, and quite about a third of those being out of hours. And that shows a performance of 99% of inquiries are resolved by the web chat. On the phone chat was which was the bigger prize, if you will. Since May 2023, we've had just short of 500,000 transactions go through that channel, and currently seeing 42 point something percent deflection rate. So this is where the AI is able to fully fulfill the inquiry from the citizen, or diverts them to another channel, such as the fully digital channel. So yeah, 500,000, 42% deflection, which doubles the actual target performance of the original project. So building on from this, during the summer, we tasked the AI partner, our internal teams and practice leads, with the objective of looking at what the art of the possible was for the next iteration of AI. So we engaged the organisation who helped us build the original phase 1 digital talker AI, excuse me, AI, and we engaged in a series of workshops involving AI specialists, specialists in adult social care, specialists in digital technologies, our internal practice leads and service leads across all specialisms in the council, including social care. And out of that exercise, 261 AI opportunities were qualified or identified and understood as far as what the art of the possible was for them. Now, this exercise was set with the objective of looking at where AI could be used to help with the council's funding gap going forward into the MTFP. So an exercise was undertaken to prioritise the AI solutions from the 261 that were most deliverable, most impactful as far as financial opportunities, and could be delivered at pace due to the urgency. So what came out of that solutioning was the option to deliver 5 new concepts of AI. Now, they all fall under a definition called co-pilot, and members will see a lot of this as the weeks and months go on, because this is the conversation and the momentum that's happening with AI worldwide. Now, the proposal within Derby is to have specialist co-pilots that deal with our most pertinent services and focus on delivery of those services. So we're looking at a customer services co-pilot, which will assist in delivering front of house services, an adult social care co-pilot, children's co-pilot, staff co-pilot, and IT support co-pilot. So what do these co-pilots do? Well, they give us the opportunity to do a whole range of things on top of what we've seen with the phase 1 co-pilot. So they can provide contextual advice based on customer needs. They can undertake problem solving of complex problems. They can do interactive triage of service and needs requests, interactive assessments, so they can have conversations with people, understand need, and actually match that need with services. They can actually generate content and solutions for people rather than relying on scripted responses. They can interactively automate processes and actually deliver the service, not just understand what service is needed, and actually match people to a service contact. They can actually manipulate data in an extremely powerful way, such that we can actually understand what our huge amount of data means and actually make powerful use of that. And it can be used for learning and education internally and externally. and that operates across the whole range of contact channels, be it smart email, social media, phone, chatbot, live chat, Teams, etc. So I've spoken about generative AI, and I've talked about the next generation of AI, and I've started to talk about what makes that difference. And this just highlights what that difference is. And that difference really came about this time last year. So anything that happened before around November, December last year was much more basic AI. And then in November, generative AI burst onto the world scene. And this is what's driven the conversation worldwide since that point. So our existing AI foray, if you will, is this first generation AI that has the ability to understand and respond. So Darcy and Ali, I touched on earlier, are built on 1,000 common questions plus more local questions, which what the AI does is it understands thousands of different ways of asking those questions and mates those with prescriptive responses. What generative AI does is it has the ability to understand and respond, but also generate content prescriptive to what is required at the time. It can bring forward subject matter expertise, so effectively have a subject matter expert at the other end of the phone rather than giving prescribed responses. It can create automations. It can remember ongoing conversations and context. It can automatically apply ethical constraints and know what it can do, what it can't do, what it should do, what it shouldn't do. And it has the ability to read and understand massive amounts of data and actually contextualize that, understand and act on that, or recommend action based on that. So looking at those 261 opportunities filtered down to 54 opportunities and applying these approaches to AI to that challenge, the group identified a minimum savings set of around 12.25 million pounds. These being in adult social care around 8.9 million, children's social care just short of £1 million, customer services, so that's across the whole customer channel piece, £1 million, £500,000 in wider council staff automation, so being able to do things like provide expert advice internally, where we have to have people do that very manually, intensively currently, and targeted debt management, so the ability to actually understand what debt is across the whole piece and actually use a number of mechanisms to actually remind, target, focus, prioritise on that debt to maximise recovery. From this 12.25 million, our finance colleagues have done a lot of work to actually break down what that means, to actually validate those savings, and have done so. Our heads of finance have scrutinised these savings at length, as has the 151 officer, and created a target set of savings, or an indicative target set of savings that should be deliverable within the coming financial year. And these are as described here. So using the AI to assist social workers in doing occupational therapy-led reviews of community care packages, using AI to support social workers in residential placements and keeping clients in the community, using the AI co-pilots to allow citizens and professionals to obtain information, FAQ response, be signposted to services, self-assessment and notifications, using AI, as I touched on a second ago, to actually proactively chase financial debt and improve recovery of that debt. Within children's, reduction of third-party translation costs through the ability to translate documents within the AI solution at speed. Within the Chief Executive's area, using AI to proactively chase council tax debt and generate increased debt recovery. And in customer services, signposting, filtering and increasing self-service through new skills that automate delivery of services. As far as a roadmap for doing this, this slide highlights that. This is obviously included in the cabinet report in text form, but we're looking at three phases. Phase 1 and 2 would extend over a 12-month period. Give in the first 4 months, give a full year opportunity of around 5.85 million, and that would focus on the adult social care co-pilot, externally facing, the customer services co-pilot, again externally facing, and the wider staff co-pilot and debt management. And these are particularly placed in that first 4 months because they can be delivered quickly and deliver a sizable proportionate saving for that speed of delivery. And the capital investment for that first phase is around 1.5 million. Then we move on to phase 2, which is around an 8-month period for about the same savings, but this will take twice as long to deliver. And this looks at the adult social care internal co-pilot, so automation assistance for social workers during with their back office work. Children's services co-pilot in a similar vein to the adult services external co-pilot delivered in phase 1, and the back office customer service skills and Derby Homes automation. So this is fulfilling service in the back office. Excuse me. With that as a capital investment of 1.05 million pounds. And then the phase 3. This is a kind of the payoff diminishes as we go, and this is a further 6 months to save around another 0.65 million. The capital investment, initial capital investment of 690,000. And this is to actually apply the AI to revenues and benefits skills, children's services internal, and things like information governance and IT. Importantly to all this advancement in AI is compliance and ethics. And so it is proposed that a compliance board to monitor, manage, control and mitigate compliance and risk would be set up, and that would cover key elements such as policy and development review in the AI space, continuous ethical oversight, ensuring that the human is always in the loop so that AI is not doing its own thing, making decisions around people's lives without a human sign-off. Managing data such that data integrity and data protection is maintained. Performance of the AI and deliverables, training and development in its use, technology assessment as the technology rapidly continues to develop and grow, and ongoing risk management. This is a summary of the investment that's defined in the cabinet report. Over the whole programme, this is a proposed investment of 3.251 million, and that will create an ongoing revenue cost to run the systems and AI going forward of 987,400, which is subject to annual inflation rises, as we'd probably expect. And that is the overview presentation. The cabinet report is seeking approval for the initial first two phases of investment, and with each one subject to the delivery of the previous stage, and the report details the finance details of where that would be funded from capital receipts and borrowing, etc. The recommendation is also to delegate authority to the chief executive to make the final contract award, because, as the council would expect, we are engaged in commercial negotiations to ensure we get the best value out of the implementation contract, and that is still underway. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Andy. First observation, really, is it the co-pilots you call them? Is it?
Yes.
They're not cop-a-lots then, because we've copped a lot of public inquiries and things in relation to difficulties in obtaining, getting customer service. And to the extent that it's been raised here at executive scrutiny, and we put a recommendation to Cabinet that the progress in relation to Darcy and Darcy and Ali is checked up on, and see where we've gone in terms of making the money back and making the savings that have been predicted. I appreciate this is groundbreaking stuff, and but that leaves it untested and raises the risk factor in my view, and by the sounds of it, one or two others. Could you put that last slide up of yours again for us?
The solution details.
Yeah. So these are interesting numbers, aren't they? Because the budget papers and the media assessment of it says that AI is going to save us 3.9 million towards the savings target.
That's 3.9 million in the coming financial year, which is a partial year effect because of the next year we will have to build it, so it won't be available from the 1st of April. It will have to be built and the changes made. So the calculation of the 3.9 million is a partial year effect pro rata of the 12 point.
And that's provided it can be organised in time and it delivers the savings that we're hoping for, yeah?
Indeed, yes. It's frequently cited, and as I mentioned earlier, this has gone and received a lot of scrutiny from the finance colleagues to actually understand the savings and determine that they are reasonable and achievable. And on top of that has been estimated conservatively. So the 12.25 million is viewed as a significantly conservative estimate compared to what could be delivered, and similarly the 3.9 million for the partial year effect next year again has been pitched at a very conservative level by finance colleagues.
So just to test that a little bit, has the savings anticipated in relation to Darcy and Ali been achieved?
Absolutely. The direct savings of 200,000 were achieved, and it's further enabled the ability to adjust the things like the opening hours while continue to deliver services which were part of last year's MTFB, and also meet challenges like increasing demand from, for example, the cost of living within that same resource envelope.
Okay, but the opening times were altered again, weren't they? And extended, so the opening times were extended. We're opening more than we had planned. What effect did that have on the savings target?
It backed out about £17,000 worth of that. Not the Darcy and Ali initial 200,000. It backed out around 17,000 of the additional savings that came about as a result of the adjustment of the opening hours. which were a separate set of savings. So by reinstating reception cover at the front door for full days, that backed out about 17,000 of the savings, which was absorbed within service.
Okay, so coming back to this last sheet then, just to be perfectly clear, it's clear there that there's £3.25 million of capital costs, and in the first year around £1 million in revenue. That's not an unsubstantial figure to lay out to make these savings, particularly if they don't achieve what we'd hoped for. What's the ongoing picture, commitment capital-wise and revenue-wise?
There's no ongoing commitment capital, notwithstanding whether the council decide to do a future investment in whatever new technology might emerge on top of this. The 987 is the total full year effect cost of running the whole batch of technologies, and that will be the annual cost.
So what would be prudent in terms of renewing the capital contribution and getting more back up to date with how things are? How many years? 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years?
When we'd have to reinvest. Hard to say really. I mean, with any IT asset, we tend to look at five year life. But in the case of this solution, we're looking at actually building something that's probably going to last, notwithstanding in-year tuning and adjustment and iterative improvements. It's probably going to looking at a decade that it will run services for. And this is using the examples of previous implementations of digital by default services that, as members will know, we've been running within the council for around 10 years now.
So again, just to be perfectly clear then, £12.5 million is the target, the ambition in a full year, every year?
The conservative ambition, that would take the 12.25 or 12.25 out of the base budget. So it wouldn't be 12.25 and then another 12.25. That would be the full year effect, and then it's out of the budget. So the budget is £12.25 million smaller going forward for the obviously the return on investment is less than a year of full year effect, and the 987 plus RPI is the cost of keeping that £12.25 million off the budget, because obviously you stop using AI and then obviously it comes back. It's very similar to when we implemented IT technology in the 1970s. If we turned it off tomorrow, we'd have to recruit several thousand ledger clerks to actually do all the work manually.
I think in your place, Andy, I might not have mentioned the IT since 1990 with the number of problems we've had with it over the years, but there you go. Questions, comments, please. Matt Holmes first and then Jamie.
Thank you, Chair. Just the first one. How much discussion has there been in relation to preparing the council's workforce for significant reductions in the period of the MTFP and beyond, or preparing services to be transformed and take into account the role that AI is going to have? So there's that question. There's no doubt AI is going to transform services. How well, it remains to be seen, really, and I think it's probably variable in terms of outcomes, but you know, and certainly we'll have to find a way to put AI to use. So there is going to be a period of, you know, review as we move forward. In the same way, really, as the internet transformed our lives, both working and just in our day-to-day existence, really. And it didn't happen overnight, you know, but it did quite rapidly happen, and the world is a completely different place. Some things are bad, some things are absolutely amazing in terms of the outcomes of the internet. And AI is going to be the same. But there was that period of potential, implementation, review, and then moving forward. So I would normally have expected to see a transformation like this trialled, reviewed, then with more confidence being able to be applied to the budgetary arena. So I do have some concerns as how robust the savings are. Maybe not in the long term, because I'm sure that it will, as I've said, potentially replace a lot of staff, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Because obviously it's going to take a lot of people's jobs, and the council and other organisations, I think, need to recognise that and ensure that we prepare staff to carry out different roles or be able to be part of that future. But yeah, that's my main concern. Apart from those questions, my main concern is how do we know how robust these savings are going to be, I would say, in the short and medium term, especially when they're actually listed as savings in this budget round, when we are effectively one of the first organisations to do this. Thank you.
Do you want to come back on that, Andy?
Happy to, Chair. Thank you. Okay, so as far as having confidence in those savings, we did go to lengths to get a collaboration that drilled into that as far as it was possible to do. So we had industry-leading AI expertise in that area. We had expert and former directors of adult social care from several of the councils in that collaboration. We had service leads from across the whole of Derby Council, specialists from the finance side, our specialists from the digital services. So we kind of had quite an enormous meeting of minds there, such that we were looking at it from all lenses, and there was extremely robust review of those opportunities. It's true. We are at the cutting edge here. We're one of the first to do this in the local government setting, and there's risks associated with doing that. But there's significant mitigation of risk. So building on that foundation of that powerful set of insight and expertise that we've done over the summer to analyse what the art of the possible is, and the rigour that's been applied to those savings. Excuse me. Understanding what the worldwide momentum is for generative AI, and ensuring that we're attuned to that is really important. I would suggest that we have done an initial phase in that, and that's what Darcy and Ali did to actually demonstrate the use of AI in a conversational standpoint, using and actually creating that foundation for the next phase of the generative AI, and notwithstanding a few handfuls of dissatisfied people, half a million transactions, 42% of which were fulfilled by AI, which overachieved by 100% of what the actual job was when we started the journey. And the things we were proposing to wrap round this to provide that ongoing assurance, like the AI compliance and ethics, robust program management to actually deliver this within the council. We would be agreeing phased implementation and phased payment dependent on outcomes, and we are in the process of agreeing shared risk and reward for the implementation, to reflect the fact that we are first and we're leading the way, and we're cutting the path where others would follow. And I would say probably the final mitigation is this isn't a tech for tech's sake. This was a challenge that the chief exec set, building on the success of the early AI implementation, to look at how the council could bridge its budget gap without having to compromise services that we're seeing that so many councils are having to do because of the current situation.
Okay, just on the back of that, can I ask how long this has been in the planning? How long have you been working at getting this ready?
The challenge came at the beginning of the summer to look at what the art of the possible was for the next iteration of AI, when it became clear that the Darcy and Ali were succeeding, and reflecting on the rapid emergence of generative AI that came around Christmas last year. So it was as soon or as quickly as it could be done. In light
So I think, Andy, it has been considered earlier, but at the time there was work to be done in terms of convincing us of the outcomes, wasn't there? And that situation presumably improved enough to give you the confidence that it's achievable?
I think that's fair and accurate.
Okay, so yeah, you want to come
Sorry,
back?
Chair. The issue of what discussions and preparation have been had, really, in terms of, well, let me put it this way. It's actually clear to me, and I think it would be for anybody that thinking about the way AI is going to work in any service-led organisation or business, is it will result in significant FTE, full-time equivalent reductions, as roles become taken by AI. What I'm trying to say or ask is, are the council horizon scanning to be fair to staff, because we are going to see, as AI becomes more active in a service-led organisation, people's jobs being taken by AI. That's a reality. So we as an organisation need to prepare for that and be fair to staff to see that reality moving forward, so that people aren't made redundant just because of AI. We have a plan to reduce the workforce potentially to be replaced by AI in a positive manner, in a proactive manner, working with staff. So have discussions started in that respect? Because, or do you not agree with me that this isn't going to reduce our overall staff numbers?
Thank you for that question, Councillor. I do partially agree with you. I think the premise is absolutely correct, that the trajectory is around automating human effort. However, a lot of work has been done looking into this and the actual benefit realisation approach within the council. So when we look at the 3.925 million that's in the proposed for the MTFP for next year, so the occupational therapy led reviews of community care packages, which is 2.9 million of the 3.9 million, where that comes from is cost reduction of commissioned services. So the situation that we're in now is our colleagues in social care, for one, don't have the time and resource to actually fully review the range of care packages that are already in existence, to do the annual reviews of those such that they're right-sized on an annual basis, and to do an occupational therapy-led review where it looks at what the options for doing things like rehabilitating people and reducing the amount of people necessary to help them by using assistive technologies, for example. Whereas currently there's only real time to say, well, okay, this person's got a need. What social care can we throw at them to actually make sure they're okay? This will give the ability to actually review all those enormous backlogs of care packages that don't currently have the time and resources to get reviewed and do them in that new and rehabilitating way. So that's cost reduction of commission services, which is a big amount of that. Similar in as far as the ongoing, so around 125,000 of that is around that on an ongoing basis. So as new placement assessments come in, the need to do that instead of them having to be more expensive because we just have to do something, or it's not properly assessed according to needs. That would be a commissioning cost reduction. There is around 50,000 from the piece I discussed around the signposting and answering frequently asked questions of service users, and it's expected that would be doable from vacancies. A further 210,000 based on using the AI collection of debt. That would be from around 210,000 of increased revenue collection, again, which we don't currently have the resources because the human officers are busy doing the core stuff. So that would be increased revenue. There would be cost reductions of around 25,000 because the AI would automatically translate documents, case files that we currently have to contract out. In the chief exec's area, so chasing council tax debt, around just over a third of $1 million by using AI to chase that debt again, that our human officers just do not have the time and resources to do. And then in the council-wide customer services, so these are your like your interfaces with our citizens, so having the conversations, understanding the need, and actually fulfilling the service. That's just over $250,000 saving, and that does come from time saving. And again, the plan is with that to actually make those savings from emergent vacancies. So at this stage, for the coming MTFP, there's nothing that would be deemed as compulsory staffing reduction. Now, as you've quite rightly said, Councillor, that this will emerge, and this will be almost an irresistible momentum worldwide, and a lot of more administrative tasks will become more and more automated. The benefit of that being, as well as the cost reduction, is that we can actually use our finite staff resources to do more specialist things that can't currently be done. For example, in the things we've just discussed here, most of those savings are things that can't currently be done by humans, not taking humans away.
Okay, can I ask then, in terms of debt collection and improved debt collection, have the targets within the MTFP been changed in relation to how much more we expect to collect?
In the MTFP proposals, they have been adjusted in the proposal accordingly.
Because they have to be adjusted and targeted separately, don't they? So if we want to change our target collection rate, then we need to do that as part of, not on the day of the budget, but beforehand. Because we looked at it last year, Tony.
Are you talking about council tax collection rates? Yeah, so we've made an assumption, but we can adjust them between now and budget setting if we need to. But we've made an assumption today for the budget.
I believe
it will obviously change the target.
Are these?
It will obviously change the target, won't it? It'll increase the targeted collection.
Indeed, but as I say, I believe those are reflected in the budget.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Jamie Moore Hall, Councillor for Oakwood. How horrified are you by this today, Councillor?
I'm not at all. I'm a big fan of AI, so I'm dead excited about all of this. But I've got a couple of questions, Andy, so thank you for your presentation. Could you go back a couple of slides, please? Keep going. Is that the one? No, keep going. think it's that one. Right. All of these savings here, do we actually have the breakdown of the calculations sort of for per sector? So for adult social care, so I know it's the expected saving is 8.9 million, but do we actually have, so obviously in the report it says it's made up of care reviews, managing demand, placement management, etc., etc., etc. But do we have the individual, like which of these individual bullet points, what's the saving per one and how was it calculated? The reason I'm asking that is just, I think for all of us here, it'd be really beneficial to understand how those savings were calculated, because at the moment it's just a piece of, it's just a figure on a page at the moment, and you know, a lot of these savings feel like they're efficiency based, and speaking from experience, I know that efficiency savings are quite hard to kind of see their benefit long term. And kind of picking up on what Councillor Holmes has mentioned earlier, it's actually much easier to see a saving when you have full-time employees walking out the door. So I'd be, for my benefit anyway, it'd be really good if we could have that breakdown. And then my second question is to do with when this is all implemented, what performance metrics and what KPIs are we going to use to measure whether these transformations of these different sectors are of benefit? So not just their financial benefit to the council through savings, but actually service delivery as well, because it's all right as implementing all of these AI transformations across the council, that's brilliant, but actually we need to understand when the savings are being materialised, and actually are the people using them getting a good quality of service. So not just the employers using them, but actually the people at the other end, are they getting a good service as well?
Thank you, Councillor. The breakdown of the savings is essentially as identified there to the next level. So this is the partial year effect of this overall saving. So there has been some quite deep number crunching done based on extensively as far as cost of service package, cost of hours of care, actually cost of actually time per transaction in customer transaction, for example, and that is an extensive set of numbers which we've tried to summarise here. As far as actually going through those reams of actual numbers, our finance colleagues have actually done that for us and actually summarised those here. As far as the that performance, I appreciate that question. It's this is what we're talking about here with that compliance. So a common feature that we will hear a lot is the AI continues to learn, and it does. So for example, somebody who's used Darcy and Ali three months ago will see a quite significant difference now to what it did with the same things 3 months ago. In another 3 months, the same again, because it's learning both from experience and because there is an ongoing regime both with the actual AI supplier and the council to actually consistently look at how it resolves things and actually tune those things so they improve going forward. The generative AI aspect with the next iteration will do that at a significantly more accelerated rate, as you can probably appreciate. But the compliance board itself, one of its key operations will be to look at that performance, look at that customer experience, look at whether we're not just deflecting people away, but they're actually getting the service that they need.
Okay, so I've got Councillor Bolton and Councillor Wright. And then Councillor Bolton.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
From?
I'm from Blakery's ward. Yes, thank you. Andy, it was a fascinating report, and I get the budget details. I know the budget situation we're in. I get it. My concern is the service that the Derby taxpayers receive from this system. And I think I said a few meetings ago what I felt about the system. Very frustrating, not as efficient. And actually I experienced, again this afternoon, Ali, I rang for a constituent who's hard of hearing, and I noticed on page 10 that you are putting a plan together to look at vulnerable customers. My constituent couldn't ring herself because she couldn't hear, so she can't obviously liaise with Darcy or Ali, so I did it on her behalf and failed. I spoke to Ali, and all I said was, I need to speak to a person, not a robot. And the response was, I'm sorry you are homeless. I don't know where that came from. So I repeated, I need to speak to a person, not a robot. And the next thing she said to me was, I'm sorry you've got rent arrears. So clearly there is some anomaly here. Either I need to speak clearer or Ali needs a hearing aid, because I couldn't get any sense out of her. And then it carried on, and I just kept saying, I need to speak to a person. And then she said, the lines are closed, you'll have to ring back. And the phone was put down. So I wasted about 20 minutes on the call and got nowhere. However, I then rang somebody at Derby Homes who I knew would pick up the phone, and I think I've got the issue dealt with by speaking to somebody. Now, my concern is that I understand the savings, I understand the dilemma of the financial situation we're in, but it's the service delivery, and I think Jamie touched on this a few minutes ago. The service delivery to our constituents is poor, or certainly from the experience I've had in the past and indeed this afternoon, and it's not satisfactory. And my concern is, how will this system be monitored? How do we know we are giving an efficient service? How do we know, from the slides that you presented to us, Andy, earlier on, how do we know how many people actually put the phone down and didn't resolve the issue that they wanted sorting out? Because I think that's the crux of the matter. If people can't resolve their issue with Darcy and Ali, they will probably then ring one of their councillors, who actually did the same as what happened to me, and it just got me more frustrated in the end. It's the service delivery that I'm concerned about, and the frustration it's going to cause. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself when this came onto the agenda a few weeks ago, but having experienced it again this afternoon, I haven't got any confidence in it at all, I'm sorry.
Thank you for that, Councillor Bolton. I would really appreciate if you can share with me more details about that interaction, and we will be able to drill down on it and see exactly what happened and the reasons for it, and actually learn from that, and actually fix that problem. Clearly that's not the response we would like. The solution is designed such that if it cannot help someone by using the AI means, it offers to put them through to a person, or says you need to be put through to a person. Now, unfortunately, probably more unfortunately, the council has Derby Homes has opening hours for those customer lines. And on the occasions, 57% of the time, when Darcy or Ali can't help, it puts them through to customer lines, but it relies on the customer lines being open exactly the same as it would be if Darcy and Ali had never existed. So I would say it is a dramatic improvement, because those 43% of all the people ringing are getting the responses, and we do monitor those and make sure those responses are good. But the intel that you're just talking about there is really valuable, because we want it to be 50 and 60%, but we actually need to learn from those. And unfortunately, there's only 33 complaints been logged corporately for the whole solution. So perhaps we need to actually do more promotion to actually get those failure cases, that intelligence, from valuable sources such as members, such we can actually review those specifically and actually fix them. Because what we've done since implementation is huge amounts to continuously learn from those and fix those cases, but we rely on people raising that with us, or actually the solutions and the people who are oversighting it actually reviewing the performance and actually learning from it. So it's no good trying to learn from a success. We need to learn from where it falls over, and as I say, I would really welcome you sharing that, so we can fix it, because we can fix it, and we absolutely will fix it. But
I think that's, Andy, why we recommended a topic review or similar to one of the other scrutiny boards, presumably communities or corporate, to learn those lessons, to review what the feedback that we're getting and you're getting from us, and to learn those lessons and to help towards improving it. Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Cecile Wright, Arboretum Ward. Thank you so much for your presentation. As part of your presentation, you talked about the various stakeholders that you consulted with respect to this system and the efficacy, the planned efficacy of this service in terms of transforming the nature of the service, hopefully the quality of the service that our residents receive. One of the stakeholders that you did not refer to was the representatives of workers, the trade unions. I'm particularly keen to find out from those representatives what they see as the implications for job losses. Yes, I understand the budgetary situation, the need to have savings, but I think we also need to look at, although you suggest that this is efficiency savings as such, I suspect there will be job losses. So it'd be interesting to hear from the representatives of your workers what they think in terms of potential job losses, and also what are the plans and scope for actually retraining staff accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. The engagement that we've undertaken thus far around the art of the possible for the AI was focused on that service expertise concerning the design and opportunity. As part of the MTFP processes, trade union colleagues have been that consultation has been started. My colleagues in HR have already started that engagement with union representatives, and shared similarly, as I touched on, where the savings are targeted this time, and they're not on job losses, unless you count the vacancies being used to realise those. Obviously, those conversations on an ongoing basis, because this is not just Derby. This is the world that's actually wrangling with the community, the workforce, and the ethical implications of generative AI. So those conversations with the union, with our HR colleagues, will doubtless be ongoing. But the council continues to collaborate with the unions on all matters such as that, as members will no doubt be aware.
Okay, so we've got Councillor Kerr, then Councillor Khan, and then unless there's any other urgent contributions, I'm going to move on. Maybe if anybody's thinking about any recommendations, you might want to do so before whilst we're listening to Councillor Kerr from...
Little Overward. I'm Lucy Cam, I'm Little Overward. The, I recognise also a number of those concerns about the current AI systems in both chat and voice. I haven't yet had a successful meeting, a conclusion of either verbal or written conversation that is what I wanted. So I think your suggestion, Andy, of having a greater engagement with councillors about our experience with those systems, I would really welcome that. And we may be having conversations which aren't one of your top 100, because once other people have failed on their requests, they're then coming to us, and we might get that second tranche of difficult, less common questions and actually speed up that learning, because, as I say, it would be lovely if it did work more successfully when I use it. So I was also interested about performance measurements and the compliance board. I don't know what councillor involvement there will be within the compliance board, or whether there will be oversight of that more specifically under one of the scrutiny boards. And I think that keeping not just humans in the loop, but keeping councillors in the loop as to how this is going would be really useful. And I think that should be on the scrutiny side, not just on the cabinet side. And Chair, that might be something that we might want to put forward as a recommendation. It recognises, you may recognise that the early adoption does bring with it additional risk. Is it able to bring with it additional benefits in terms of maybe not lower cost, because there will be higher costs in being there at the front as a pilot authority, but is there something we could negotiate in terms of potentially a profit share with ICS, so that we, over time, will get the benefit of being an early adopter? And if we haven't talked to them about that, then I think it would be useful to include that in the negotiations. I'm presuming that the majority of the capital cost is that software cost, and it's going to be people putting ideas together. I do think it's exciting. I am a bit concerned, and I think it's in the monitoring that we need to get that assurance. And I hope that we can set up a system that will achieve that.
Okay, it doesn't sound like you put any form of words together in terms of any recommendation. But Andy, would it be possible to, obviously what Councillor Kerr and others are describing is people have tried the system, tried it and failed or whatever, and they end up almost last resort-ish coming to the councillor. Would it be practical to have a point of contact within your team or with the AI team for councillors in general to raise queries? Because A, that would help resolve the problem, and B, it would give you information about what the problems are.
Thank you, Chair. I think that would absolutely be extremely helpful, and we will look to do that as soon as possible. As I touched on with Councillor Bolton's question, that intelligence is really invaluable to help us tune the service. I would probably just a little things we'll need to collaborate and just be aware on is that avoiding councillors being a circumvention of the automation. We just need to be careful that citizens don't think, well, if I ring Councillor Kerr, I can cut through all this, because that'll make the system a lot worse. And you
in case that unless they are different to me and most of the big councils I know, we don't encourage them direct contacts, but
and
the system is...
I think that was my point. I mean, as for the sake of digital inclusion, we need to encourage people to actually try and use the services, and let's not forget that the actual smartphone AI was put in place so that people who weren't comfortable using online services didn't have to, as long as they could use a telephone. It would offer them some level of automation. So yes, we will absolutely look to do that. Would you just like me to answer Councillor Kerr's points on commercials, Chair?
Let's deal with it and get this one done first, this aspect of it done first. Because subject to what Councillor Khan's going to suggest, I'm going to suggest a very simple recommendation is that that Cabinet agree to the establishment of a troubleshooting point of contact between councillors and the AI department. Who would it best be?
If it's all right, if you could just, I will arrange that, whatever's best. So I'm happy to be point for that and then set that
An
up.
appropriate IT officer or officers, yeah. Is that all right, Steve? Yeah. That. Councillor Khan, and then I'll come back to you. Okay,
Thank you. Councillor Jangir Khan, Normanton Ward. You know, my residents are from a very mixed minority community, and I think they will find, and certain age group will find this service a bit difficult. And what are there for the service users from these particular communities and a certain generation, if they have them issues? And when you did that consultation, have you got numbers from these certain wards, something like mine, that the response you had from there and all that?
There's no demographics been used in particular for the design of this. The whole service volume has been looked at. I think what's probably really key to discuss on that point though is no services and service channels have been taken away. So before Darcy and Ali, all the channels that were available then for people to use to access the council are still absolutely there. The only difference being the service hours has been modified slightly due to the financial constraints. So, but how people contacted this time 2 years ago, they are all still absolutely there. The only difference is Darcy and Ali will try and help first, and as councillors Bolton and Kerr have highlighted, there may be some issues with a percentage of those not working as they should, and this is why I'm so anxious to actually get that learning from members so we can make sure it does. But all channels are still there. People should AI channels, be it the phone AI, which anybody who should be able to use who has previously used the phone, is still there. The digital channels are still there. If people don't want to use those, they can use any of the other channels. The key is when someone can't use the channels, they are actually signposted as quickly as possible to one of the channels that they do want to use. So we're never going to turn off the phones. We're never going to turn off the customer front door. What we will do is leverage AI to automate that for those who do want to use those services, and it will actually release resources for people to deal with more complex needs for people. And we're seeing that already in the performance as we review that. Likewise, we're seeing Darcy and Ali, and to a degree, people say, I don't want to wait for 10 minutes in a call queue because the AI can't help. So they are hanging up, and we're seeing those then appearing on digital services and actually getting what they want through those digital services. But again, this isn't perfect. It significantly overachieves compared to what the original outcome was. But that we don't stop there. We want to understand what the obstacles are for services and actually tune those and fix those.
Okay, so a couple of points for Councillor Cares to finish off, and then finally Councillor Holmes wants to come back in before we finish. So a couple of...
Forgive me, Councillor Care, if I've missed anything. I was scribbling away, but the capital costs of implementation are a cross between software and the actual human cost of configuring and implementing the solutions and assisting with the change, together with capital costs for humans to do the initial tranche of OT-based assessments, and that will inform the programming of the AI, such the AI can then co-pilot, can assist social workers in doing those going forward. As far as the taking an increase cost as a result of being first, we're actually because we're piloting and almost approving ground for this with the safety parameters that I've described. We are getting a significant discount on this, and also, and this is where I touched on earlier, asking for delegated authority for the chief exec to award the final contract, is discussions around shared reward, and the council being remunerated for every sale of this software elsewhere is also in the discussion, and is highly likely. I think that was everything.
Okay, Councillor Holmes.
Thank you, Chair. It was just trying to put together what I feel personally should be a recommendation. I'll read out what I've written. We note the long-term potential of AI to transform services, but urge caution in terms of outcomes and financial savings during financial year 24-25. Robust performance of financial reports and updates on the use and rollout of AI need to be taken as a standing agenda item to all relevant ONS boards / committees throughout the 24-25 financial year. Personnel committees should also be engaged in regards to how the council's workforce may change in the future as a result of AI. I think that kind of draws together all of our concerns, and in a positive way tries to bring together the overview and scrutiny process and the wider councillor consort to help the council move this forward, and for us to understand it and hopefully steer things as we move forward, Chair.
That sounds fine with me. Can I just clarify the first one really first? So we're all comfortable with a call for a troubleshooting point of contact with them, okay? Right, we can agree that. So you've heard what Councillor Holmes has said in terms of the overall comment. Are we all comfortable with that?
So the last sentence then would be personnel committee and union should be engaged in regards to how the council workforce may change in the future as a result of AI. So,
are we comfortable with that?
Yeah. I'll send that over to you.
Good, thank you. Yes, Councillor Kerr, before I move on.
And I've got two more specific ones. To ask Cabinet to ensure that the structure of the AI Compliance Board includes means to include councillors in the assurance that it should be providing. To ensure that the structure of the AI Compliance Board includes means to include councillors in the assurance that it should be providing, so that councillors are included somewhere in that table that's being displayed behind you.
Is that done, Andy, or...? Does it necessary?
It would absolutely be the intention that the AI Compliance Board, similar along the lines of the
But it's not
information-
there. It's not there at the moment, is it?
It isn't there at the moment
No.
because we haven't created it yet, but this would sit alongside the Information Governance Board and similarly reporting to either audit and accounts, corporate scrutiny, or even exec scrutiny, whichever is most appropriate.
In that case, there's no harm in it being there.
That will come naturally. The other one was...
To ask Cabinet to ensure that development of the phone AI includes appreciation of a range of accents and sentence structures.
Is that done automatically by the system?
The generative AI would take care of that. It would be probably a significant back step to actually manually do that. This is what generative AI gives us.
I'm just conscious that there are a lot of systems where people say that if you're speaking with a less mainstream English accent, even if if you're Scottish or Irish or you've come from a...
I think, Lucy, the overall comment that we put together...
It'd be sufficient to cover those.
It'd be sufficient to ensure that
And we can
these are
pick these
exactly
other
the sort of
points up.
things that we're asking should be monitored and dealt with if they come up. So thank you for that debate and those recommendations. You're comfortable, Steve? Thank you for coming, Andy. You're the only one that's put yourself up to be shot at tonight, but it has been useful to be able to drill down to the detail in respect of what is a large portion of the potential savings in the MTFP.
And thank you, members. It's been very useful in receiving those comments.
Good, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm told we're not able to do the same with the rest of the paper in relation to the MTFP. And personally, I am not comfortable sitting here. And we've all read the papers. I don't want to be having read to me and then have questions brought to mind that I'm not able to get answered. So I think we're going to result tonight in the Executive Scrutiny Board not being able to fully and effectively scrutinise item 9 on the Cabinet's agendas, because I'm told that details will not be provided until the scrutiny meeting on the 15th of January. I have a problem with that, in that if we can't scrutinise the paper that's going to Cabinet, then the public in general can't make informed and educated comments on the budget process itself. So with that in mind, Jamie, did you want a second or and I'll recommend it. I'll send this to you, Stephen. But unless there are any other comments, for me, scrutiny should be able to scrutinise what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants, without being put off and delayed until the 15th of January. And to be told, well, if you send the questions in advance, we'll try and make you an answer. That's not how scrutiny works, is it, Sarah? Over the years, we've always been able to scrutinise the workings of the council on the hoof, and that's where we produce good scrutiny. So I'm extremely unhappy with the situation we find ourselves in, and I don't want to sit here and listen to the detail that we've all read without being able to question it. Is there any comments, Sarah?
I think you're being a little bit unfair, Chair. In my past experience, we have never discussed the budget until after Christmas.
Why is that on the agenda then?
Usually January, because from my recollection, when I was previously on the council, we had a special meeting when we had the relevant cabinet members here with the relevant officers, and then we could question, debate them directly. They're not here tonight, so in my view, we wouldn't be having a proper debate and getting the answers we wanted. So traditionally, it is always in January. I think in my diary it's the 15th, when everybody will be invited, and I think that's the sensible way forward. I don't think you're being stopped from debating it this evening. I'm sure if we wanted to, we could, but we wouldn't be able to get the answers. or have a debate, precisely.
So that begs the
I don't
question-
think we're being stopped from scrutinising,
It begs the
Chair.
question
You're
for me,
putting a
Sarah.
little bit of a naughty slant on it, in my view.
It begs the question
We
for
can
me
still
is-
discuss it.
It begs the question for me is why it's even on the agenda if we can't get any answers to any resultant debate. But more importantly for me is that the lack of detail, the lack of new savings, the overemphasis on using reserves and AI is a serious concern. And the detail in this report is insufficient, in my view, for the public to be able to form an informed decision and make a valuable contribution. That's the difference for me this year, Sarah, is that it doesn't seem, if I'm honest, it doesn't seem like the work and the thought and the preparation and the detail has been gone into enough and included in this report. I would not have expected for that to be in everything that's needed to do from a budgetary purpose to be in a pile of papers only that thick. It is a detailed thing, and people in the general public will want to scrutinise it and ask questions. So I saw a couple of other hands, I think. Did you want to come in, Lucy?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I felt this was a fairly opaque paper. There's a lot of words which don't say a great deal. There are a lot of questions that we could be asking. I highlighted 2 or 3 points that I thought we might get answers to, but I think for me the real problem here is that the scrutiny function of the council has not been engaged in the process of budget development. I did a training which was regional LGA run training on budget scrutiny a few weeks ago as part of responsible training. And it was very much, the trainers there were very much saying that good budget scrutiny should include scrutiny of the process by which the budget is put together, not just the budget once it is being completed and ready to go out. We've had no opportunity, no meaningful opportunity certainly, to look at this earlier. And for me, there'll be another budget next year. There'll be another budget preparation process next year. And I think asking now for greater inclusion of scrutiny in next year's budget process is something that we could be doing now.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. And there have been budgets last year and the year before that and the year before that, all of which have been in much more detail than the apparent content of this report. Councillor Mulhall, you indicated you want to...
Yeah, no, I was just going to agree with what you said, Chair, and what Councillor Cares said. You know, how can we call ourselves exec scrutiny when we can't scrutinise is the bottom line. So I'm fully in supportive of what you're attempting to do, Chair.
Okay, so for the record, I'll read it out and I'll send it to you, Steve. What has been put together. The Executive Scrutiny Board have been unable to fully and effectively scrutinise item 9, the MTFP for 2024-2027, which is on the Cabinet agenda. Officers are unable to provide the meeting with any details of the proposals contained in the report. It's felt that details provided and told that details will not be provided until the next scrutiny meeting on the 15th of January. The report is considered clearly to lack sufficient detail on some of the proposals. There is a distinct lack of new proposed savings, the use of reserves and the over-reliance on unproven AI are of serious concern, and there's a need to be scrutinised in considerable detail. The timing and depth of the scrutiny function of the Council should not be restricted, and at a time when the finances are in such a precarious position, the MTFP should be fully examined. It's not appropriate that the scrutiny should be limited to questions put in advance to enable a suitable response to be prepared. The report and the proposals contained in the MTFP item does not represent an adequate consultation report for the public to be able to consider and give informed response to the process. So it's explained in some detail. Any comments or thoughts on that? Can that be agreed? Anybody against? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to point out that we do have officers in attendance this evening who were prepared to present the budget report. And just to clarify a couple of points in the debate so far, the Budget and Policy Framework Procedure Rules give overview and scrutiny a standing entitlement to examine the contents of the budget. And it's customary for that scrutiny to take place at the annual budget scrutiny meeting, which this board hosts, but that all overview and scrutiny members are invited to attend. And I think, as been mentioned already in the debate, that meeting is due to take place on the 15th of January. In terms of scrutiny's powers at this point in time, I think that the Cabinet are being asked to approve a budget for consultation, and it is entirely legitimate for this board to ask questions about the proposals in terms of that process for consultation, how the council will engage with as many residents as possible in the course of consultation. But what isn't necessarily feasible at this point in time is to look at the specific details of every single budget proposal or go through the budget line by line. So there are officers here who have been involved in the preparation of the budget documents and also preparing for the consultation process. And if the board wishes to, it's entirely feasible to hear from them now. That is entirely at your discretion, Chair, but in my role as the Statutory Scrutiny Officer, I felt I needed to add some clarity to what scrutiny's role was at this point in time and also the role of that meeting that will take place on the 15th of January.
Fully understand the role of scrutiny, Alex, and it is my view and my decision that yes, we could listen to it all again. I've been pre-briefed by the Section 151 officer on it also. She wasn't able to answer the questions that I put forward in the pre-briefing, so they're not going to be able to be answered tonight where they're not present. Unfortunately, there isn't, and there is detail to be asked because it lacks detail. So I don't want to sit here and waste the scrutiny members' time doing something that's going to have to now be done in January. But I agree with Councillor Kerr in future. There needs to be more consultation, more scrutiny of the budget process prior to this point, if that's the case, because it's not for me and not for us and not for scrutiny really that my concern is for the public being able to understand and being able to make a valid and informed decision to make representations during the consultation. Otherwise, the consultation is a waste of time if they're not getting all the facts. So, any other comments, questions? Yes, Councillor Kay.
As part of the review of the governance of the council, looking at the constitution, I'm one of the councillors on that working party, and I had raised with Alex the possibility of including within our constitution something about the scrutiny on the production of budgets. Now, it's not included there at the moment, but it is something that, if it's something we think is important, it might be something that we could take up individually through groups or whatever and make sure it does get in later on. Meanwhile, I have some words again to support what we've just said about the development of budgets rather than not getting a scrutiny.
Are you seeing this as separate or to be added on to that?
I would do it as separately because then you get 2 bites at the cherry. So if you'd like me to read it, Chair.
Okay.
Regional LGA scrutiny training recommended that good budget scrutiny should be throughout the year, including scrutiny of the budget development process during the summer and autumn. We ask that for the coming year, Cabinet engage much more closely with the scrutiny function throughout the year in the development of the 25-26 budget. Long way away, isn't it, 25-26?
I'm fine with that. Completely satisfies and supports the original recommendation by all means. So, anybody have any problems with that recommendation? Can be agreed, sensible. You can send that to Stephen, can you? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Tony, I'm sorry to have not dissed you, but not called on your services tonight, and I wasn't 100% sure how it would go tonight, which is why I didn't stop you, suggest you didn't come. Is there anything you need to say that can't be said either at Cabinet or on the 15th of January?
Thank you, Chair. No, I don't think so. I just would like to clarify one point around the budget process. We did bring a report on to October the 11th that outlined the process, the way that which we did it, and the gap at the time, and any risks associated with that did come through scrutiny as well. So you have been involved in the process.
Yes, I get that. as part of the build-up to it, but not in respect of the final numbers or the savings or being able to drill down into any of those.
That's just in response to Lucy's, Councillor Kerr's query about being involved in the process.
Okay, thank you. Right, I think does that complete the agenda, Stephen? Okay, thank you for your time, your contributions, and coming out to be shot at. That will conclude the meeting there. Thank you very much.